All right, we're live.
Boom! Little post game quickie during game into post game. Hopefully soon. Quickie presented by Coors Light, the beer that's made the chill.
Mountains are blue, baby.
Mountains are blue.
That's really what it's all about. That's the new put it in the books. Are the mountains blue or are the mountains gray? And right now the mountains are blue. What a fucking dub right here. And whether you're celebrating a L or a win, Coors Light's got you covered. We've been saying it over and over again. During the happy times, you crack them, put it in right now. Yes, sir. Put it in the books. The mountains are blue. When times are good, you crack them and you guzzle them. You kind of do the Dana beer tweet, until it fills up and overflows. And when times are bad, you're sipping it slow, and it's like, it's the only thing I got to keep me alive. And when you're on the roller coaster, like we are, you need every single kind of them. So go get your Coors Light and drink them with us every time we do a pregame or postgame quickie. Crack a Coors Light, keep those mountains blue, and come enjoy yourself. What a dub. I'm looking at my man Dom Smith right now. What a fucking hero. What an absolute fucking hero.
I had like a revelation today. I was thinking about it. I was like, Dom, obviously, like the crowd got behind Dom last year and everyone loved him. And then,
win the crowd, win your freedom. That's really what happened with Dom.
He hit, and then he hits the walk-off bomb against the Braves. But this year, just seeing everything that's happened with him, and he's just become this like fucking star. And then obviously all the other emotional stuff with him, like everyone just loves him so much. I can't wait till we just go to Citi Field and just go Dom. Yeah. Like he's gonna be a king, dude. And that's with Pete Alonso playing the same position. We have two just awesome guys at the same. It's wild.
What do you think the move is really going forward? I mean, I hate to.
No, we're not talking about this right now. This cannot be addressed right now. Don't you start this up.
All right, I'm just gonna say this. Okay. So, logically, the best move probably, let's just work with the DH, right? We're gonna have that forever now. We keep them both. Yep. Fine. But if we wanted to really get savvy about it, these things are hard, but you have two very coveted players worth a lot of value. And, we've got a shortage of pitching. And if you wanted to make a move, I think I would pick Dom Smith.
This is like back page of the Daily News. These are the things that like drive teams and fan bases to go nuts. I can't take it already. I know this is coming. It's
like, recency bias or whatever you want to call it right now. Obviously, Pete has struggled this year. Dom has not. But I think I would roll. I don't know. I mean, then I can see Pete.
That's a poor boy mentality.
That's what?
That's a poor boy mentality.
Yeah, well, no. I know what you mean. It's not, but it's not like any other sport where, I don't want to do this just playing guys out of position anymore. So it's not really a poor boy mentality. It's like you got to make the difficult decision mentality. And, think about it this way. Think about how Steve Cohen's going to think about it with like, if he's thinking of it as like an investment and as business, it's going to be like, we already have a portfolio filled with tech stocks. We're not going to go buy more. Why don't we diversify? Some shit like that. And I'm just thinking, from what I've seen right now, it's like one guy can do it with the bat and the glove. Now, Pete could go make me eat my words and go hit 3 fuck bombs tomorrow, and I would feel like an absolute clown. I got to remember last year, all those home runs and so many of them, 18 of them coming in the 7th inning or later to like tie the game or give us the lead. But those are the tough conversations that I want my GM to have those kind of conversations. Yeah. I want my front office to be the type of guys who are like, this is tough and the fans might not understand it, but like, we got to like, what if Kyle, what if the package out there for either one of them is like, exactly what you need? What if it's this is not by any means a perfect comparison because it's young guys and like coming up. But like when the Cubs, when the Red Sox pulled the trigger with Nomar Garcia-Parra and like their fan base was like gutted, but it was like the exact piece they needed to go win a World Series and break a curse. Like what if I told you right now that a Dom Smith or Pete Alonso trade would go get you a bullpen arm and a starter that could put the team over the top. Like,
that's the thing though. Like, they're everyday players, so like the wins above replacement, get like into the analytics. It's like if
okay,
you
well then fine. What if we got a center fielder for it? What if we got a real everyday center fielder for it?
then you have to consider it. But it's like
I'll give you this. All right, Pete Alonso for I wish I could think of like
so important. You have the DH though. It's that's the thing. It's like it is recency bias because it's like
yes, no doubt.
Let's say Pete Alonso ends up being Adam Dunn, who strikes out 250 times a year but hits 40 fucking home runs
every year. Yeah,
every RBI that you're counting on that is like strikeout. So it's like if he hits 200 and he hits 50 home runs in like a regular season, I don't care.
Absolutely. Okay, then fine. So what if then let's talk about Dom Smith. Right now, you could probably make the argument that his stock is maybe as high as it's ever going to be. What if I told you that you're going to get a real center fielder? I can't think of like an exact name off the top of my head because I'm not one of these encyclopedias like Jared. But like you get a true everyday center fielder and like a legit bullpen arm, and you got like two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
God, these are tough conversations to have, but I hope
I don't want to have these conversations. This is bad juju. Pete's just going to accept the designated hitter. He's going to be happy to be there, and Dom's going to be our everyday first baseman. That's what's going to happen. The DH is staying. It's not going anywhere.
Well, let me ask you this: what is what is like the vibe right now in modern baseball as far as like the DH is so new to me that I really don't know enough about it. Like, is it more normal for a team to use it as like a rotational spot? Do we have like are the David Ortizes and the Edgar Martinezes, are those like a thing of the past, or are there guys out there who DH every goddamn day and like that spot is just taken up? Because if it's like, yeah, you're gonna get Dom and Pete in the lineup every single day because that's how we're gonna use it, fuck it, let's ride. But if it's if you have to work a bunch of guys in there and then you're only getting one of them a couple times a week, different story. So what is like how do most teams operate with it right now?
I just like for the NL, it's brand new, so it should be back to the drawing board where it's like you find one guy and you stick him in that spot, or one or two guys and you stick them in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's like a shortened season and they weren't expecting it, they're like, oh, let's just shift everybody into this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the AL is approaching it differently, if they have like a guy that's their DH hitter. And like,
I think if there's a guy you got to kind of get like Nelson Cruz, like you're kind of forced to put him there, and that guy rakes like a motherfucker. And I'd be fine putting if they do that with him, put Pete there for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
but
the problem is Pete doesn't want to do that. Pete's going to want to be like he wants to play, and it's like, bro, I don't know what to tell you. This guy's got a better glove than you, and why don't you just? I don't understand guys who don't want to DH. That sounds awesome to me. It's like this is do all the fun stuff and go to the grind. Let's go.
Yeah,
and rookie contract. It's like you're going to do whatever we're going to tell you to do because we have you for control for the next 3 years. Like that's
so true.
Don't play.
And really, like I would love to know how much money, like, is your contract really going to be all that different? If you're a everyday DH and you just hit bombs, are you really going to like lose out on money or status because you're not like out there with the glove? Like, I can't imagine.
If you're a top 10 slugger, you'll overcome the glove stuff, especially now that DH is universal. That would have been a problem if the DH like got to like took it back in the NL, but now every team needs a DH now, and the NL teams are coming in starting from zero, other than us who have 17 DHs and no one who can actually play defense.
Yeah,
so I think
we are a full roster of DHs. Nobody's got a glove. I mean, I just remember the team I've watched the most with the DH is obviously the Yankees. And I just remember during like the A-Rod era, it was kind of like a revolving door. It'd be like A-Rod needs a break, Jeter needs a break when you got a lot of veterans who need like load management. But, if it's something where with both those guys, we can get them like all the time, every day, no problem.
You know what we need? I got a solution already. I got it already. Pete, he's going to lose the YouTube show, right? If you're not at first base, you can't talk to everyone. So you either got to have him like talk in the dugout with the boys and then like, listen, talking to like Pete's in the dugout in the seventh inning in the opposing dugout, so we can talk with the opponents because that's going to happen. Like, and those are going to come in every week. Like,
dude,
like earmuffs. But like that's what we need to do because
Yeah.
that's going to become a problem. He's going to think like he might think like that, and I don't want Pete being upset about anything. Just focus.
No, I don't
on
either. But I'm
national.
also, if I hear any fucking thing about a YouTube show being like the reason why we're not making a strategic move, he could do the same sort of content and call it like bench mode, and you just talk with your own teammates on the bench, like you said, instead of the opposing team. And because you know what, I mean,
problem with having that much success so soon.
yes,
You have
Yes.
a YouTube show.
yes. I was gonna say the real problem here is that YouTube shows don't work when you're batting like $197.
Yes.
So I think if he wasn't, he needs like a. I here's what I think. I think right now, if it wasn't Corona and there wasn't like so much going on to talk about, I think he's flown under the radar with this YouTube thing. And I think if people were paying attention more, they'd be like, why do you have a fucking YouTube show, bro? Like, you better, you got some other things to focus on. Now, if he goes back to the way he was last year, what?
No, you're right. Like if the media was in the locker room every night and he went 0 for 4 3 nights early, they'd be like, Pete. So, and all it takes was one asshole reporter who's had like a vendetta against Alonso for some reason. It takes the one fucking muckraker, like for a better word, and they're just trying to piss people off to light a fire. So this is a good thing with, like you said, the Corona. Everyone's virtual, and there's so many other things going on. You're not being like, hey Pete, what's going on? But hey, if he just hits next year, everything's fine.
Well, man, I mean, like
and also I'm just gonna say, like, I imagine Uncle Stevie will have a different like PR strategy in the way people interact, and like the Wilpons, who seem to always just have like the worst person in front of the mic at the worst time. Always. So I think hopefully the Manish Metas don't get into the Mets world with Uncle Stevie.
You know what he should do is he should just credential guys like us. And we'll roll up in there and just be like, "What's up, fellas?" We won't even ask them questions. We'll just be like bullshitting with them. I would love part of the Steve Cohen era to be like, we are completely revamping media with our team, and like we're not going to have beat reporters in there being like, so take us back to the 4th inning with that 2-1 count and the ball was in the dirt, blah blah blah. Just have guys like us in there being like, yo, what's your favorite beer? Like, hypothetically, do you believe in aliens or ghosts? Like shit like that. And all of a sudden we're the most interesting team and nobody does it is bullshit.
Question, Barstool Sports, KFC Barstool Sports. All right, you're standing there, your mom is an inch in front of you, your dad's in behind you. I'm just going, answer the internet in the fucking middle of a press conference.
I could make answer the internet baseball. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make for the app, I'm gonna make a baseball pack where it's all hypothetical baseball questions. And I get in there every night. I have 160. Well, no, I'm not gonna go on the road. So I got 81 games and I got 81 questions. And every night we have a Mets answer the internet question. And the internet goes on fire for that. And none of the bullshit questions that we have to hear over and over and over and over fucking get. Steve, holler at me, bro. Anyway,
tell the podcast.
We're making, if you can't tell, I got hair in my mouth. As we're talking about hypothetical trades and shit right here, we're trying to make something out of nothing as we do these post games here because there's not much left to say. But it was a good win tonight. I really thought we were going to blow it there when the Braves were threatening, but get a little ground ball double play to get out of it and breathe easy. A bunch of survival runs, insurance runs tacked on, and it's like a back-to-back belly-to-belly with Dom and Cano, and I just keep thinking to myself, we just needed that a week ago. It's just like it's going to be a little too late, and that's our boy Evan Roberts had a tweet maybe yesterday, 2 days ago, and it said something to the effect of like, the team is right there, but it sucks when you're like knocking on the door and you fall short because you never know when your window is going to be open or closed. I'm paraphrasing. And I realized he was talking about the Islanders because the Islanders which makes a lot more sense because you're talking about a team that was, trying to force Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. They're truly knocking on the door and their window is truly open. But in my fucked up Mets brain, I was reading that to be the Mets. And it's a similar, without being in the playoffs here, it's a similar feeling where I just keep thinking like, we're trending in the right directions in some ways. And obviously Cohen's going to help things out. But this is a year where if timing was different, they could be in the mix, which is always the most frustrating feeling.
Yeah, I kind of go back to like even before the season started, when Noah, I guess it was for even the regular season would have started. Noah gets like Tommy John. That's such a killer for most teams. And then when Strowman was out, that was like the basically official console. Like you're just not going to win if you have your 4 and 5 have to be better than what Matt's has been. And then what I mean, shit, Peterson should have just started there. 10 strikeouts tonight. Are you serious?
I know.
Fuck.
He's the lefty of the rotation. Like you can't convince me otherwise. Matt had the shortest run and the most accolades in like the history of the Mets.
Yeah.
He came up in 2015 and instantly pitched in the World Series.
I know.
On a quarter of a season. And everyone was just like anointed him like, oh, he's the lefty of the rotation. You can't get rid of him. And frankly, you can't. You need a lefty. Now we have Peterson. It's like, well.
Yeah. You need a lefty who's competent. You can't just throw any lefty out there.
Portnoy, throw Portnoy in the mound.
I loved him. I just had like a soft spot for him, so I wanted it to work. And I just remember this feeling of like, well, he's a 5 starter, but he could be a 1 on other teams. And I always had this hope of like he's the guy who's going to sneak under the radar and actually be this awesome. And he was for about 45 seconds with the grandpa, and then it's like I think of him as this fallen talent, and really, he's just not good. He just had like a quick flash. You know what I mean? It's not like was he so highly touted? Was he? Was he a prospect?
He's the Mets' first overall pick, but
all right. So then it is fallen. Yeah.
Around. And I said to Clem, I actually played against him. He's my age. I played against him my whole life on Long Island. And and so when he got picked up, he didn't even pitch his senior year because he was like he didn't pitch until his senior year because he was so injury prone. Like the dude has been in trouble since middle school.
Right.
And they picked him. I was like, he's never going to stay healthy. And he instantly got Tommy John. It was like, well, yeah. What do you expect?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
He was the holy trinity for Mets fans, though. Like this was good. We were gonna fall in love with the guy because he was a super high prospect. Like he was our number 1 guy. Remember we called him up. It was like an event, right? Yeah. He has that first start. He hits the home run. He pitches the gem. So he has like all right, this guy doesn't suck game 1. So we love him then. And then the grandpa, the viral moment. It was the holy trinity, and that's all we need. We're junkies. You give us that. You give us that drug to us day 1. We got you. We got 5 years out of that.
That's all that matters. Yep. Yeah. We got 5 years out of like 1 inning.
I'm looking at his stats right now. That 2015 season, he had a 2.27 ERA. So he obviously his advanced numbers.
How many starts?
It was only 6 starts. Yeah. But he got a rotation start out of that, I guess, because
how many? What was his ERA that next year?
3.4. So you're like, all right, second year, first full year, 3.4 for whatever he is. 20.
But how many starts in each of these years? How many?
22. All right, then 17, he has 13, so he's hurt. 6.08 ERA, crazy awful number. 2018, basically a 4, 3.97, 4.21 in 19, and then 9.79 we're looking at right now in the Corona season. So I honestly think Kyle, once Kyle soured on him, I was like, wow, that's Kyle's boy right there. It's Long Island, the home of friendlies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I still it's Matt's, and I think with Matt's you got to just keep him around. You don't want to have a Darno happen with Matt's. You just leave him in 5th spot, dog shit money, whatever. In arbitration, I was saying this to Kyle in the pregame. What's he going to say in arbitration? The Mets will be like, pay us to fucking play on the team next year. Because you go with your numbers, right? 9.7 in ERA. What do you make for that?
I mean, that's got to be like league minimum, right? I mean,
he will become I'm totally convinced.
Oliver
Perez.
Yeah.
Like this, Barry Bonds is on the record saying Oliver Perez is the toughest lefty he's ever faced. Oliver Perez is trash.
Well, and honestly, I know right now people are yelling about Wheeler. The past couple nights we talked about Robles, and obviously Darno hits a home run tonight and rubs it in our face. But I firmly believe there's many times throughout Mets history where it's just not going to work here. And it might be – they might have a resurgence and a renaissance elsewhere. And there's just a ton of change of scenery, guys, in Mets history that, you just have to swallow that. It just is what it is. Like Steve Matz, if he goes somewhere else and has a good career, people are going to scream and yell. But if he sticks around here, it's never going to work here. So you can't think of it as oh, what could have been? It could not have been. It will never be that way here. And so, like, if that happens, it's kind of like, so be it, you know?
I always go back to Justin Turner with the Dodgers because
That's a tough
we
one.
got rid of Justin Turner because he told the Mets, your approach is fucking trash.
Right.
He told Ike Davis, don't listen to anything these people are telling you. That's why they got rid of him. Verbatim. They were like, that's why they traded him. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's not buying in.
And clearly his approach works.
Yeah.
I mean, there are, you know, when you play for a team, well, I was going to say the Astros. We know that's a little bit fugazi, but like they kind of had a system, even outside of their cheating with their pitching and their analytics and their spin rates and shit. Even a team like the Yankees, when you Dodgers, when you have a team franchise that like has a system in place, like it's like a religion in place, you know? And when the Mets try to have that, it's like, what? Your guys' system clearly doesn't fucking work. And anybody who wants to buck that trend is probably going to be in the right. They're not going to be in the wrong. So I mean, it's crazy to me that Justin Turner is like, yeah, pretty much you should never go with what the Mets say. But that one particularly hurts. Like even Murphy kind of is bothersome, but I remember thinking like, you know, good riddance. Like we don't need this. But for Turner for literally nothing is, I mean, that one haunts you every fucking day.
That's bad. That's
especially
bad.
in that position. Like that's something we haven't filled since. That one haunts me at night. And his girlfriend's a fucking smoke.
His life is so awesome. I'm so happy for Justin Turner, this big redhead dude. Yep, Southern Cal, chill, just living the life. Fucking. I mean, other than winning a World Series with the Dodgers, like he did everything else you could do. Instead, he would have just been rotting on the end of the bench here, freezing his ass off.
I mean, he must. I would love to talk to him. I'd love to interview him and get him like off the record, honest. Just be like, how happy are you? He must wake up every day and be like, thank God.
Oh man, the only bummer tonight, which again, survival runs, love them. Wanted that Diaz music. I wanted to get my trustworthy closer, Edwin Diaz, the winner.
How's Frank doing, by the way? Have we seen like Frank tweeting about him? Does he has he still not bought in? Like I was like one of the last ones, and I feel like Frank's got to be holding on, right?
The only tweet I saw from Frank to take tonight actually was like Alonso awful at bat or something like that.
Of course,
Alonso retired him for potato chips, so so far he's made him fucking jump in the ocean for the polar bear plunge.
Did that happen? Did we officially hit that? Yeah.
Yeah, he hit it. He hit it last night or the night before or whatever. So
and is Frank honoring it?
So everyone's like, "Do you think he'll honor?" I go, "Frank honored a eat your piece of paper World Cup bet."
Yeah,
like,
and that's so different than get like a true diet thing for him. Like,
but it's like I said, people are like, "Oh, I'm not going to hold Frank to just like every chip potato. Like the Lays are gone, the Ruffles are gone. Those are good, but now you're Doritos for it's all Dorito October or whatever it is. So Dorito October, I don't know. So we'll see.
All right. So I mean, good dub. We were 2.5 back in this game, in the middle of this game. I don't know what the rest of the league's doing. But I guess there's a chance that tonight it could be, I don't know, 2 games, 1.5, whatever it is with the rest of the league. So anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
But, like, again, like this is the perfect example of gold fishing. Like, good win tonight. Just forget about what happened the night before. Like, that doesn't count. That doesn't matter anymore.
We won and we went down to the percentage points. So,
oh, God. That's when you know it's getting late early. That's how you know the season's coming to an end. There's just not enough opportunities. When wins don't mean as much as, the number of games you got left. That's when you know you are fucked. So, I mean, you just got to win out, basically. It's just got to be like sweep. And
the most important thing right now, what is the most important thing? On Monday, our guy's back in the bump. Bauer goes up a little bit in the ERA.
That's right.
To try to close things up here.
So Trevor Bauer gives up, I think, 2 home runs, right? He had 2 earned runs, both of them solo shots, which, not only does the ERA, so his ERA is up around like 1.8 something, right?
1.8.
1.8, and 2 more home runs against on the record. And Jake is at 2.09, I want to say something like that.
Yep.
So low 2s. And I mean, that helps. You're saying there's a chance. I was hoping Bauer was going to get whacked around. Didn't quite happen, but I'll take 2 dingers off him
It's
and
actually
just give Jake a shot.
it's pretty crazy. His home runs against are through the roof. So like, let's say he let up like 14 runs on the season, like 9 of those are off of home runs.
Interesting. Does that does that like matter to Cy Young voters really?
No, but it just means that if there's anyone on base for his next start, like it could.
Yeah, of course. But it's not something like, they'll, let's say everything else is equal. They wouldn't be like, well, his come again with home runs. So
yeah, I could see them being like, that's a good run to give up. Like a home run's a good run. It resets you don't pitch from the stretch anymore. That's a good pitcher right there. Like,
right. I'd rather you give up a 3-run home run than a rally of sorts or whatever.
Right. I honestly think the biggest plus for us with Jake, I guess I'll mention this on the pod next week because I think it's true. Like, he's now earned the point where it's like, 20 flip. I'll just go with the guy who's won 2 in a row because he's fucking awesome instead of the guy who did it for a few games in Corona, right?
I hope.
Yeah.
I do hope that like Corona might help him a little bit, where it's like, Bauer didn't really like, you could make the argument with all of these awards this year, you didn't like fully earn it. So why don't we like, throw this guy a chance at, not immortality, but like legendary status. It's like,
if it's close enough, you have to give it to Jake. No, like
I agree with that. But what qualifies as close? Like right now, I think if it was over the course of 162 and a full like 35 starts, if it was 1-9 versus 209, I think you can look the other way. But when they were like neck and neck for everything else, and you see the ERA jump because of that one bad start, I think they're going to lean towards Bauer. But it's so razor thin that I don't know if you can just kind of be like, well, he's got the edge there, but it's so small. You know what I mean? It's like none of these things are really small. All of it really matters.
What you really need like you Darvish to jump in, where like each of them are number one in one.
Yeah,
category.
right. And then it just kind of becomes body of work. Like
it's the guy who's better than everybody else.
Yes. Yeah. If Bauer's leading in like 4 of them 5 major or something like that, but if it's like 2 for him, 2 for Jake, 2 for Bauer, and then it's just kind of like, well, the storyline here will be 3 in a row, and Jake, blah blah blah. So I think there's a couple ways Jake can kind of backdoor it right here. But I mean, first and foremost, he's got to pitch his ass off these next 2 starts. But lo and behold, magically, his hamstring's okay, guys.
Stop it.
Suckers. Fucking suckers.
You're fucking stirring shit with Pete and Dom. Now you're stirring shit with Jake and like his toughness. I don't like this. No, it's fake. We're in Steve Cohen land. Everything's fake right now. Everything's happy and good. We're undefeated with Steve Cohen. No, don't do it.
So listen, win out and anything can happen. Control your own destiny by just winning every fucking game. And gotta believe.
See you tomorrow. Gotta believe.